Well, hello there, dear viewer. Today I want to talk to you about a problem I think exists in Starfield, among many other problems, and it is that it is way over its own head in terms of the issues, the themes, the mysteries of universe it tries to tackle in its writing. I'm not going to talk much about gameplay here. I mean the storytelling and the dialogue and all that. I have found, however, an interview with one Emil Paliarulo. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. And this fellow is one of the designers, a lead designer of Starfield. And he actually really believes they touched upon some important conversations in this game. And one of the most important bold claims is in the title of the article. Look at this. You may encounter God in Starfield's space or lose faith. Now, I don't know if Emil here has ever been religious. Even for a moment, he says in the interview he's been jumping between atheism and agnosticism for a while now, and they needed to ask one of their colleagues, who is apparently one guy at Bethesda, is now training to become a Jesuit priest, and they asked that priest to write the book for one of the churches, for the Sanctum Universum, the second chances I'm about to visit in a little gameplay bit I want to show you. So that book, the book for Sanctum Universum, is the one that actually does look like something that religious people might utter about universe and the meaning and the like. The other is just atheism, humanism, enlightened, so-called. That's, by the way, a very humble and self-aware way of naming oneself. We are the enlightened, as opposed to, I guess, everybody else who isn't. It's so painfully current day, all of it, that discussion, that they would pin these two worldviews against each other, a sort of Jung for toddlers in the Sanctum Universum, and the militant atheists who just use the most tired atheist arguments, like the most basic high school locker room talk about freaking religion, that I can't even believe that it passed any proofreading, if there was any proofreading. It's so uninspired and flat, but nevertheless the game tries to, convince you to lose or gain religion or something moronic like that. I am really staggered that this guy, Emil, is capable of talking for like half an hour about these issues, and there's just nothing to show for it in the game. Almost nothing, I guess. I guess there was an attempt. Now, I happen to have a passing interest in the history of religion, so I feel a little bit, distressed and uneasy when things of that magnitude are simplified so much, and then they just bang me with the simplification in the head. And I think, just to illustrate how a relatively simple person, I would think, like myself, reacts to this amazing problem of religion and God being presented in Starfield, I will just show you my initial gut reaction without any preparation when I first play the relevant bit of the game.
Like anyone can just love a terrible person who has been terrible to them.
Yeah. Wonderful wording. A terrible person who has been terrible to them. Well, I will have you know, young lady, most people are terrible to other people, and we do love them anyways. If we have a reason. That's not that much of a discovery. Or a problem. Where is my church, though? Yep, it is in the underground slum. Of course it is there.
We run a number of social programs, from financial aid to food banks.
That's nice. I'm looking for work. Maybe I should actually, being a little bit of a religious nut job, maybe I should work for them.
It just so happens there's a task I need help with right now.
Nice.
Well said. Even when that person is a fellow member. Suffice to say, I'm glad you're here.
Even if?
As for the job, I need you to pick up a man named Tahir over at the medbay.
Oh, there's a chest here. Charity in a godless universe 4 parts of it, 6 med packs, some ingredients, something to eat. Well, could have been worse. It's a chest. I can transfer things to it. I hope they won't despawn. Nice. I probably should read all the reading material I got from the House of the Enlightened. So this is basically what we do. We are just nice to people. That's what we do. We bring them food, and that's lovely. It's absolutely lovely. That's exactly what we should be doing. We don't talk nonsense about angels flying in spaceships like some other religious people sometimes do.
We started as an intellectual movement built around
Oh, that's
atheism.
interesting.
As our numbers increased, we began focusing on humanitarian efforts and showing what humanity can achieve when we work together.
And now you are still atheism or just religious atheism?
Take care.
Maybe I should switch a religion then. I don't know. I will read the books and then I will make my crucial decisions. Yes. Right, so I read the presupposed holy book of my supposedly a religion. It's not a religion, it's a glorified atheist humanism, and it reads a little bit like a very modern propaganda of, you know, all religious people are stupid and silly, and we are the only actual smart ones who actually want to help people because we don't believe in any silly things. That's basically how you sum up the writing of the Enlightened I just read. And that, first of all, it's utterly, stupidly simplistic as a worldview. And most importantly for this playthrough, it's not what I have intended for my roleplay. So I need to break with this silly organization masquerading as a religion. It's a non-religion, it's an anti-religion. That's not what I wanted for this guy.
There's a lot of work that needs to be done in the well. A lot of people in need.
Yeah, I would like to not be a part of this
What part
anymore.
of it? Fighting poverty and injustice? Coming together to tackle the real problems of the settled systems? Or
No,
do you
your
say
exact
atheism
attitude right
doesn't
now.
work for you? Look, I get it. There's a lot of strange things out there. But we can't abandon responsibility for ourselves because there's things we can't explain yet.
That's it. That's a nothing burger which you just give me. You can be good to people with or without the responsibility for everything in the world. Yeah, this is a very complicated issue, and I am not in the mood of talking to you about it. I'm just in the mood to announce my departure from this organization.
Believing in God is just taking a shortcut to doing
Okay.
figuring out the truth that's right in front of you.
Yeah,
Tyrants use
I've
God
heard
as
this
a cudgel
a
to keep
thousand
the
times.
masses.
Yeah, and that's to right. Bye.
Alright, well, but I hope you're still game to.
Yeah.
That's probably
Yeah. Go away. Go away. So now I am free of a trade. I don't know if I want to join another one, because apparently the religious choices are idiots, slightly more religious idiots, slightly anti-religious idiots, and the snake cultist idiots, and as far as religions go in this game. So maybe no, maybe not, maybe religion is just not for me. Maybe I will be, one of these guys who are spiritual but not aligned with any religion. I will just make my own. What the hell? Why not? Hello, sir. Is your religion an actual religion, perhaps, by any chance?
Unknowns that I try to help out others whenever I get the chance.
So he said there is a copy of the sacred writings of these guys here, the Sanctum Universum, among the graph jams. I'm not giving a sermon, by the way, guys. Don't get too excited. Oh, really? This is how the sermon looks in this church. We sit on the ground with a pillow. Is there any like a serious religion where we can actually worship something, not just yoga people and atheists? Oh, god damn it. Now, don't get me wrong, and don't get pissed instantly like most people on the interwebs do. I'm not trying to say anything against you if you are an atheist, or if you believe that somehow the exploration of nature or space or science can lead us to better understanding of some sort of divine reality, higher reality. That's all fine by me. I'm just saying, put your bloody arguments together. Make something better than what you were capable of producing in high school. You know, the person from the Enlightened tells me first that it is possible to be good without God, which is technically true, and I don't think anybody told him otherwise, so he is getting instantly triggered, like a person on the interwebs, about things that nobody even tried to talk about. This is very much a product of our days. I'm afraid of our times. Like, nobody said anything about goodness is only possible with God, and nobody said anything like that, yet he is already on the defense. Like, we should be more responsible for what is there in front of us instead of thinking about religion. There's no stark conflict between the one and the other. There can be. It's not necessary. It's not inevitable. It's not intrinsic to the problem of religion, I don't think. And actually everybody who's been religious for like a freaking half a year or a month knows that. And the other argument that guy uses is from the fact that tyrants have used God to justify horrible things, which, again, when I was 14, it was an impressive argument. It was an intriguing argument. Not impressive even, but interesting. Now, by now, I have heard it so many times by so many people that the only thing I can ask, okay, what ideology, what idea hasn't been used to justify atrocities in human history? If you can find one, it's probably an extremely young ideology. You probably concocted it yesterday in your garage or something. I mean, you need to be more specific than that. You need to make a claim and have some sort of backing for it. That maybe the belief in personal God is somehow more atrocity prone than other ideologies. I don't believe that for a second, by the way, because there are much younger ideologies than monotheistic religions that has caused a comparable or even higher numbers of unjust and horrifying deaths and persecutions. Nevertheless, if you want to make such claim, make it and then explain your thinking somehow, somewhat. None of that is present here. It's just the top 3 arguments against God. Just somebody Google that on YouTube or Twitter and put it in the game, and that's the depth of Starfield. You can lose or find God in this game. Come on, dude. I mean, really? Why do you insist on embarrassing yourself and Bethesda? Jeez. And there's even more evidence for how out of touch these guys have become, and perhaps they are just not prepared intellectually and philosophically to talk about these matters. Nobody would blame them, by the way, if they decided to skip or gloss over such things in a video game about shooty bang bang in space. That was their own decision. Emil states, we are making a video game, there's gonna be a main quest, but we really want to dig into the kind of high-level stuff with exploring space, the more theological aspects of it. So that is extremely imprecise, Emil. Perhaps you could have rephrased this, because this is a nothing statement. Kind of high-level stuff with exploring space about theology. That's you don't even have the capacity of presenting the problem. What the hell are you doing? It's a space game. Pew 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 pew. Can you do pew pew for me? Well, do the pew pew part first. Do it well. Then you will start teaching me about religion, for fuck's sake. Sorry, I got a little bit riled up. And it only gets worse as you read. Let me find it here. Yep. We were, says Emil, really inspired by things like 2001: A Space Odyssey or Contact or Interstellar. These really sort of heady sci-fi concepts. Yeah, you might have been inspired by it, but you haven't come close at all to the quality of just thinking and the quality of imagination and the level of, well, engagement with the core problems of existence, let's say. If we want to stay heady, Emil, like, he doesn't even have the words to be heady. And anyway, all right. So first of all, Interstellar. That's the movie I have rewatched most recently of the three, and I would say, as much as it does touch upon things like meaning of life, and there is an element of that, but the main ambition and the main problem is much more humble, actually. And Chris Nolan is not a silly person. He is a smart guy. He's not a, game designer. sorry, Emil. He's a smart guy anyway, and he hasn't been as ambitious in Interstellar as you are trying to be here without any preparation or competence. So basically, what Interstellar, I think, is trying to do is to show you that the psychological forces, like love, are almost as inevitable and crucial to existence as gravity and the forces, the laws of nature. And that is the main thing. It makes a case study, let's say, through all the other topics and all the meaning and the future of humanity and the like. But what it really comes back to and what it boils down to is it may even sound naive, but at least it's something, It's a thought. It comes from some experience, I'm sure. And if you look at the infinitely memeable Matthew McConaughey's acting in that movie, which I think is great, it's just so much of it that it's memeable. When you look at it, there is a real experience behind it. Not just talking in your, coffee break at Bethesda headquarters. Some actual hard experiences probably has been explored to show how hard of a realization it may be, how hard of a confrontation it may be, with the fact that certain things in us are as inevitable, even if we want other things, if we want to go away from our inner instincts, maybe, if we have other more important tasks than our love to people, there's something inevitable about it, and it will always come back. And to the degree that the main character in the end bends the rules of reality just to reach the loved one and save humanity at the same time, because these things are intertwined: love to the individual loved ones and saving the humanity. And that is, when you put it like that, it may sound a little bit pretentious, but it really depends on where you're starting this process. What is your experience? At least it's something, right? It's not just, God is in the graph jumps or there is no God. Okay, but does it mean anything to these people? Oh, how do you love that? That is why I started that clip with the dialogue from an NPC. How do you love a mean person who's been mean to you? That's the intellectual bloody level of the entire thinking about religion in this game, I'm afraid. Meanwhile, in the real world, with people who have more than a quarter of a brain, this exact question, this exact experience of suddenly being opened to someone who's been mean to you, for example, this is just one of many examples of little things that can make you start thinking more seriously about religious morality, or morality, even not religious morality, but the core problems of morality. That when you sometimes learn that a person that appeared rude or mean or even hostile and harmful to you, well, is like you, and you could be that person too to other people. That is the answer to that silly question, and it hasn't been answered. It's not even a very advanced or very intellectually, profound answer. It's the start. It's where you start to think seriously about the golden rule, for example. Treat your neighbor as you would like to be treated, or whatever it is in English. I'm sorry, it's not my native language. So it's where you start, and they haven't even touched that. Right, moving on with the interview. Religion was a way to talk about these big concepts, but not dive too far down the rabbit hole. You don't want to offend people. Right. You actually have no other choice than to offend people if you are talking about such things. You will offend people. When you are talking about the meaning of existence itself, that includes the meaning of the existence of the people you're talking to, You will hurt them at some point. If you want to be honest, you will hurt them. So that this is just yet another reason why people of today cannot talk about religion, and perhaps in some instances, like making a video game about pew pew in space, perhaps they don't have to. This is just, we wanted to tackle the most important things in the universe, in the history of human thought, but not offending anyone. We just be very, very careful not offending anyone. First of all, Emil, you did offend me, not because of my religious feelings at all, but because of the utter simplicity of the arguments you put in the mouth of one of the NPCs, the crucial NPCs, I would assume, for understanding the problem of religion in Starfield, and it was just offensive to my intelligence, and I would hope to yours as well. So maybe if you have to go this low to avoid being offensive and then are offensive anyways, perhaps you can just give up the entire game of avoiding the offense, or give up the entire game, as I mentioned, of talking about religion. But wait, there's more! Apparently Todd and Emil both grew up in a religious setting. I don't really care, you can have some things to say about religion without that as well. Players have gotten other things other than religion, I assume, before, and the meaning of everything other than that. They got the science, the exploration, meeting the alien race that wants to invade. Those are all great. I love all those things. But we wanted to know if we could tackle a bit of a larger story in a game, something that one of these great movies accomplished. No, Emil, you have not tackled anything remotely close to what those movies accomplished. And because you misunderstood what they were trying to accomplish. I guess, at least in the case of Interstellar, it was much more humble than what I think you are trying to say here in this interview, because I frankly am not quite sure what it means. You know, the big things of, you know, the sort of high level, you know, I have no idea. But I guess you meant you want to tackle the meaning of everything, of universe and the existence, and that requires, or maybe is facilitated by employing the religious themes and the religious worldview. Now, that is all fine so far, but I told you that. You have not said that at all in the interview or anywhere in the game, and also you have not pointed at it in with any degree of subtlety. You have, however, used a few conversations from your high school's locker room that inspired you to write a fake book about humanism, enlightened humanism. Now, I don't see how you could be this disjointed from reality, this far removed from anything even remotely resembling freaking honest conversation and a deep conversation. Because, you know, you can say, well, these people aren't theologians, you know, they are game designers. It's bullcrap, it's bullshit. You can have a deep conversation about these things with a normal person, with a game designer, or a janitor, if you actually try, if you're actually honest, if they are not afraid to say what they really deeply believe, and you are not afraid. But sadly, apparently, maybe you were too afraid to offend, and therefore you said nothing. Anyway, I've got this out of my system and off my chest, and I don't feel any better. I am pissed. I guess I am pissed with a funny undertone right now, so that's an improvement. And let me know in the comments section, how do you feel about the great mysteries of existence tackled by Starfield? Like, am I an idiot? Am I maybe over my head too? Am I an idiot here who doesn't understand the greatness of this game, of the narrative in this game? Or is it absolutely gibberish, basic level of basic bint trying to answer the humanity's oldest questions? Anyway, we will see each other again. Remember about the stuff, you know, the subscribe star and super thanks things and likes and comments and sharing and all that crap. Alright, bye bye.